Hey y'all, I'm Val from Our Forever Farm. I'm so glad you're here. We just had a little date at the Waffle House this morning. You know, sometimes you just got to do the Waffle House and sometimes you got to do Crystal. It's just a thing, you know. But when I got home, I realized that we have a lot of work to do this afternoon. And so I'm gonna make a creamy bean soup. Now you can use any meat with this that you want. I'm using a smoked sausage, but Sweet Hunter loves it. My favorite is ham, but it's a simple soup using northern beans out of the can. So I'm gonna show you real quick what we're gonna use. So we're gonna use some vegetable oil. I don't think I have to show you that. You already saw the sausage, that's what I'm using. But again, you can use ham. When I buy a big ham, I do big ham once a year, sometimes twice a year, to make a meal or two. And then I use the rest of it for sandwich meat. A lot of times that's what I'll make this with, and it is delicious. We're gonna use some unsalted butter. We're gonna use an onion, and I bought some onions finally. We're gonna use a couple of carrots. None of these are washed, I gotta wash them all. We're gonna use some garlic, and it calls for, I think it's 2 teaspoons of garlic, and I had these in the freezer, so I'm letting those cloves thaw out. Salt and pepper. We're gonna use all-purpose flour. We're gonna use chicken broth. It calls for 3 cups of chicken broth, and thankfully I have this canned. It calls for whole milk. I don't use whole milk unless I'm making ice cream or something like that, so I'm using skim milk. It calls for the W sauce. And I already showed you the beans. It calls for 2 cans of white northern beans. And it calls for parsley if you'd like to decorate the top with it. I don't have that, and I'm not gonna do it. I do have some dried, but that's not important. The important part is a good creamy bean soup. So let's get to cooking. So I'm trying to get in the habit of wearing an apron. Sometimes I just have a t-shirt on and I don't need to wear an apron for that. But when I'm dressed, I will try to wear an apron. My girls got me these. They say Our Forever Farm. I love them. I think they're pretty. I don't know why I don't wear them more often. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to put 1 tablespoon of oil in a pan. Next, I'm just going to slice up this Polish sausage. I think it's called kielbasa. I'm not sure if that's how you say it or not. But, oh, and I'm using my Nakano knife. If you need a knife, this is a great one. And I'll put a link along with a discount code in my description box. I really appreciate Nakano knives for giving us that discount. I'm going to order some too. So our oil is hot, and we're just gonna brown these sausages. Ooh, that's a thick one. Oh, I cut it. I just didn't cut it in 2. We're just gonna brown these sausages in the hot oil. This won't take long. We're gonna try to brown them on both sides. I'm just doing this in my Dutch oven. You can use an iron skillet. You can use whatever you want. And I'm probably gonna just put mine in the crock pot when I get it all done. So all we're doing here is we are browning our sausages. Ooh, you should smell this. It smells so good. This only takes about 7 to 9 minutes max to do this. Remember, it's fully cooked. So all we're doing is just browning it a little bit. While that meat is browning, I'm going to cut up our carrots, I'm going to cut up our onion, and mince our garlic real quick. And don't forget, the recipe will be in the description box. The onion and garlic got to me. So our meat is browned. It's maybe 7 to 10 minutes, something like that's all it took. And I'm just going to dish it out on a paper towel and let it drain. And it'll stay warm, hopefully, and just wait to be put back in the soup. Look how pretty. Now we're going to melt our butter. This is 3 tablespoons. I think this is a little bit more, but y'all know me. We're gonna just put it in the same pot and let it melt. Now, as soon as the butter melts, then we're gonna add our onions, our carrots, and our garlic. I don't usually put my garlic in at the same time I put my onions in, but that's what this recipe says, and it's gonna be a quick soup. It's probably not gonna have the opportunity to burn. All right, I'm gonna add this to the soup mixture. Well, there went a carrot. See if we can turn this around. So we're just going to stir this around until the onions are translucent. Oh, it smells good, I can tell y'all that. Now we're going to go ahead and add our salt and our pepper. That salt will make the vegetables that are in there release some liquid, and it'll also spice up the soup. So we're going to cook this for about 10 minutes and just keep stirring it. You don't have to stir it constantly, but just keep stirring it where it won't burn. That brown butter looks really good in there. Now what we're looking for is we're looking for those onions, like I said, to be translucent, and then we're looking for the carrots to be a little bit soft. Not cooked all the way, but just a little bit soft. In the meantime, we're going to open both of our cans of beans, and you want to make sure and wash your tops because you just don't know what's been on there. We're going to drain these in a colander, and then we're going to rinse our beans. These are white northern beans, great northern beans is what they're called. This is all we're going to do. And we're just going to rinse those off. And let those drain. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open my chicken broth. Now I'm using canned because I have it, home canned, but you can use bought. That will be fine. If I didn't have this, I'd be using bought. So I'm going to measure out 3 cups. I may have to get another jar. Nope, I think we're good. So our carrots and onions have been cooking probably about 7 or 8 minutes. I'm going to let them go just a few minutes more. And then we're going to add our flour, our broth, our W sauce. So first we've got 1/4 cup of flour. We're just going to sprinkle that over the vegetables, and we're going to stir that and cook that about a minute. What that's doing, it's going to thicken your soup mixture and make this good and creamy. And cook that about a minute. Easy, quick soup to make. You can put it in the crock pot like I'm going to, or you can just cook it on the stove. We've cooked that about a minute, so now I'm going to add 2 cups of chicken broth. Yes, we need 3. I just got to measure it out. So we're going to use 3 cups of chicken broth and bring that back up to a boil. We're going to add our W sauce. I'm not even going to try to say it, and it calls for 2 tablespoons of this. I think that's about all I have. And then it calls for 1 cup of milk. So I am going to get this ready. I'm not going to pour this in quite yet. Get this back to a boil. So now we're going to add 1 cup of milk. This is what it's going to mix with that flour that's cooked, and it's going to make the creaminess of the soup. Now, if your soup doesn't get as thick as you think it ought to be, you can add a little cornstarch mixed with water, or you can do more flour. If you add more flour, make sure and get all the lumps out and make sure and cook it well. So next, we're going to bring this to a simmer, which it's almost there. We're going to go ahead and add our meat right back into the pot. Y'all, we're about done. And then we're going to add our beans. Now, I've had them draining over here, rinsed and drained Great Northern beans. And it's beans from the can, y'all. Makes a quick soup. Now, if you wanted to eat this right away, you want to cook this like on simmer for about 25-30 minutes. But we're not eating it right now, and I'm going to make some cornbread to go with this. So I'm going to put mine in the crock pot and let it cook all afternoon. I'm actually going to add what little leftover chicken broth I have, just because I don't want to save that little amount. And it's going to cook all day, so it'll be fine. Don't this look good? Now, when we're about to eat it, I will show you our dinner. Now, the only thing that's not done, not really cooked in here is the carrots. And in 15 to 20 minutes on the stove, on simmer, they would be fine. So this is a quick, easy soup to make. I'm going to put mine, like I said, in the crock pot, let it cook all afternoon because we've got a lot of work to do. And he's already outside working, and I've got to go help him. So I'm going to put this in the crock pot, and then we'll come back in, make a quick cornbread. There's supper. Easy peasy. Creamy bean and Polish sausage soup, or ham, or whatever you want to use. It looks delicious. Well, we've worked all afternoon, and it's time for supper, so I'm excited. This soup looks so good. Let's look at it. Look at this. Oh my goodness. Look at that. It smells heavenly. So you can see I've got the cornbread done. So I'm going to go ahead and dish Sweet Hunter's plate out. This looks delicious. What y'all think? I'm gonna dish mine out. I won't get quite as much as him, but I do like the beans. I will tell you this, we love this soup so much, we ate it for 2 days. There was none to freeze. And I'll interrupt right here and tell y'all it's even better the second day, which is really saying something. Let's put the lid back on this. Let me get that out. And we will freeze what's left over, of course. Imagine that, right? Let's cut this cornbread, and supper is done. Listen how crunchy that is. If you want to know how to make this cornbread, the link is in the description box. Look at that. So I'm going to do a quick taste test if it's not too hot. You know me and hot things. That's so good. Let me get a piece of that sausage. I'm not a big meat eater, so for me to fix this sausage was major. I'm sure it's going to be good. That's very good. That's delicious. Y'all gonna love this soup. If you want something warm and cozy, creamy bean and sausage soup or ham or whatever you want to put in it. White beans and cornbread, you can't beat it. So good. Got to get some green tomatoes to go with that. The ones I canned, very good. Y'all go cook something. We're going to eat.